Hey, Tiger fans, we are live. Welcome in live to another Tuesday afternoon edition, Tuesday, April 14th, 2026 edition of the Babin on the Bayou show. I'm your host, as always, Justin Babin Jr. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning into the show. Got a lot to get to on the show today. Gonna start off by talking a little bit of LSU spring football, LSU spring practice. Towards the end of the show, we'll talk a little bit about LSU baseball, as the Tigers are back in the box tonight for their midweek game at 6:30, taking on Northwestern State. So we'll talk about that. We'll get into all that. Before we get into everything, again, thank you as always for tuning into the show. We are always daily sponsored by our friends over at Shield Heating and Cooling, best AC company in the business today. Remember that number, 225-46-BAYOU, 225-46-BAYOU, BAYOU. Call the team over at Shield Heating and Cooling, best AC company in the business today, at that number. Tell them you heard about them from this show, and you'll be receiving free AC system cleaning checks for every AC system in your home, courtesy of the wonderful team over at Shield Heating and Cooling. Also, as I told you yesterday, even though it's been a rough week really for LSU baseball, I will always love and root for my Tigers. I always love my Tigers, just like you. But you know what I also love? I also love food, especially sweets. And there's not a better place that I have found to serve you for all of your delicious sweet treats, all the sweet treats that you desire, than a new sponsor here at the Babin on the Bayou show, and the team over at Sugar Me Sweets, Cakes, and Confections. Sugar Me Sweets has it all, from fresh baked chocolate chip cookies to cupcakes to cake squares to custom decorated cakes. Sugar Me Sweets, Cakes, and Confections has it all. Now you can call them, you can contact them. Their number is 225-250-1950, 225-250-1950, or you can visit Sugar Me Sweets, Cakes, and Confections in person today. Their bakery is located in the city of Central Louisiana, 8565 Rome, ROME Drive, 8565 Rome Drive. They always have a storefront that is fully stocked for all of your last-minute dessert needs. We are so excited to bring on Sugar Me Sweets, Cakes, and Confections as a brand new sponsor of the Babin on the Bayou show. They do great work, and you should definitely go check them out today. Again, that number is 225-250-1950, or visit them in person in the city of Central Louisiana, 8565 Rome, ROME Drive. Sugar Me Sweets, Cakes, and Confections. Okay, we got to get into the show today. We'll talk a little bit about LSU baseball and preview their matchup today. Their midweek matchup against Northwestern State in the box at 6:30 that we're a little bit under an hour and a half away from. But I wanted to touch on a little bit of the reports that we've heard and what we've been hearing out of LSU football and out of spring practice, what we've heard from there lately. And every time I talk about spring practice, I always specify this. Unfortunately, I do not have a credential, so I'm not able to attend these practices in person. So I get a lot of my information from articles I read, from videos I watch, from podcasts I watch. Shay Dixon with On 3 and the Bengal Tiger does a great job. Tingle & Co., Tiger Bait, AYS Sports with Blake Ruffino. Blake does a great job. AP, my guy AP from Timeouts and Tangents, talked about some football stuff related to spring practice over the weekend. He does a great job as well. But the wide report, what we've been hearing out of the first 3 to 4 weeks of spring practice, is that the defense, the majority of spring practice, has been winning over the offense. That's what it looks like. The defense has obviously been winning. And I understand that might be a little bit concerning to some people. We talked about Sam Levitt, who's going to be your QB1, going to be your starting quarterback going into September 5th of 2026, week 1, when you host Clemson. We talked about Sam Levitt, obviously, early last week. Remember, he had some pins that were removed from his foot, the injured foot He sustained that Liz Frank injury that cut short his season in 2025 when he was still at Arizona State. So Sam's not going to be able to participate in the rest of the spring practice. We kind of already knew that. He's still on the regular timetable. Expect to have him back for summer workouts and definitely back 100% healthy and ready to be the starting quarterback for LSU when fall camp rolls around in August. So you already kind of knew about that. We've talked about what kind of opportunity, that amazing opportunity that presents for Hassan Longstreet and Landon Clark to get first team reps with the ones. And the report came out that there was a scrimmage in Tiger Stadium on Saturday that the media got to see. And from all reports, Longstreet and Clark combined to throw 5 interceptions in one scrimmage for the Tigers on Saturday. The defense had a really, really great day on Saturday, and the defense has been winning for the majority of spring practice so far. They've been winning, and I understand 5 interceptions between Clark and Longstreet combined is a lot, and I understand there could be concern about the offense not, like the defense winning in most of these practices. Now, I do think from reports I've heard, the offense bounced back a little bit today, did a little bit better during practice today from some of the reports that I've heard. But I want to say this. I am not worried about the offense struggling against the defense in spring practice. I'm not worried. I'm not concerned about it really at all. The reason why is just look at where you are. I mean, you fire Brian Kelly, you hire Lane Kiffin, you bring in Lane Kiffin, and look at where you are defensively compared to offensively. Defensively, you have a majority of your defensive staff from last season and from the previous few seasons has returned. Blake Baker is back, Corey Raymond, Jake Olson, Kevin Peoples. Now you have Chris Kiffin, the brother of Lane Kiffin, kind of helping coach the linebackers, helping Blake Baker with the linebackers. You bring over Sterling Lucas from South Carolina to coach the edge rushers. We talked about Sterling Lucas had a great track record coaching the edge rushers when he was at South Carolina, coached some real studs and some real star edge rushers and guys like Kyle Kennard, Dylan Stewart, Brian Thomas, like all of those guys. Sterling Lucas has a great track record. Point is, you have a lot of most of your returning staff, most of your staff on the defensive side of the ball is returning from 2025 and 2024. And you also have a lot of returning talent on the defensive side of the ball. You have DJ Pickett, PJ Woodland, Tamarcus Cooley, Deshaun Spears, Whit Weeks, Devon Keys, Don McKinley, other guys as well. Now, you do have some transfers that you brought over and guys that I really think are going to be really key for you this season. TJ Daugherty at linebacker, Prince William as an edge rusher. He's going to be your number one edge rusher after a stellar season in 2025, recording 9 sacks at Ole Miss last year. I've already talked about what a stud I think Ty Benefield is. I think Ty Benefield is going to be awesome in this defense in 2026. So you have a lot of your staff on the defensive side of the ball returning, and then you have a lot of your talent returning as well, and guys like Pickett, Woodland, Cooley, Spears, Weeks, Keys, McKinley, all of that. It's the complete opposite on the offensive side of the football. I mean, you have a brand new offensive coaching staff on that side of the football. Now, a lot of that staff coach with each other and coach with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. So while they may have a lot of experience coaching alongside each other, they still don't have a lot of experience coaching this roster. They still don't have a lot of experience coaching this roster. And you have so much newness on this offense. I mean, your entire quarterback room from Leavitt, Longstreet, and Clark, all of those guys are transfers that you brought in January. You have 2 returning running backs in Harlan Berry and Caden Durham. But besides them, you have 3 to 4, I would say, 4 transfer portal running backs that you brought to the team in January. Guys like Dylan Jones, Rod Gainey, Stacey Gage, guys like that. You bring back Tradez Green in the tight end room, but who's going to be a stud for you in 2026. But besides Tradez Green, you brought in some transfer tight ends like Zach Grace and Malachi Thomas. You also brought in some other new tight ends as well. I mean, Phillip Wright is your only returning receiver from 2025. Phillip Wright is the only receiver that you have returning. You brought in double-digit wide receivers from the transfer portal, and you brought in a couple from the freshman high school signing class that you signed in December. So you have a lot of, like, a majority of your receiver room is completely remade. And then on the offensive line, you have a few returners on the offensive line, but then you also have double-digit new offensive linemen that you brought in between the portal and between the high school signing class that you signed in December. So your whole offense is basically brand new. Your coaching staff is new. Your roster on the offensive side of the football is basically brand new. And there's a learning curve. Like, Lane Kiffin's offense, not only, like, the biggest thing I think is the pace, like the up-tempo style of offense. There's not an offense in the country that goes as fast as Lane Kiffin's and Charlie Weiss's, and that's an adjustment. Like, that's definitely an adjustment. And again, this offensive coaching staff does not have experience coaching this roster. So through the first 3 to 4 weeks of spring practice, they are learning this roster. They are learning what these guys are good at, and a lot of guys are having, good reps. You have talent in the receiver room. Like, you have a ton of talent in the receiver room. By all reports, I know Blake Ruffino was talking about this. Winnie Watkins has been great in spring practice. You've seen great things from, of course, I love Jackson Harris and Jace Brown, what they bring to the room. You have Trey Wilson. Roman Mothershed has made some incredible catches in spring practice. Malik Elzy, Trey Brown. You still have, like, freshmen and Jabari Mack and stuff like that. So you have talent. I will say, Lane talked about the offensive line today and how the offensive line has been a real positive. Their development has been a real positive for you in the spring. And that was a really good sign to me, because your offensive line was terrible last year in 2025. So the fact that that's been a bright spot, a positive note, and that they put in some good reps and some good work in spring practice, that's a really, really good sign. Now, at the quarterback position, Landon Clark and Hassan Longstreet both have a ton of talent. They're both dual threat quarterbacks. They both have good arms. They are struggling a little bit. We can be honest about that. But they are dealing with brand new receivers that they're still getting, like, developing chemistry with and all of that. And also, guys, on the other side of the football, they are playing a defense that was a top 30 unit in the country in 2025. Top 30 unit in the country in 2025. And they're also playing a defensive secondary that I think could be elite in 2026. I think your secondary is going to be great. I really do. I mean, DJ Pickett is one of the best young cornerbacks in America. I think he's going to be the next cornerback in a long line of great cornerbacks that have come out of LSU, that have come out of DBU. We saw a lot of development and improvement from PJ Woodland throughout the season in 2025. I've already told you how much I love Ty Benefield. Deshaun Spears, when he got the chance to play in 2025, really balled out and really shined. Tamarcus Cooley is a veteran presence that I think he had the most snaps on the defense for LSU in 2025. Cooley did. So I think you have a lot of, like, I think this secondary could be elite. I think it could be one of the best secondaries in the country in 2026. That's what these quarterbacks are having to face. Now, I will say, I do think that outside of Cooley outside of Pickett, Woodland, Cooley, Spears, and Benefield, I think if one of those guys get injured and another guy has a step up, that might worry me a little bit, because I'm worried about the depth you have in the back end of the secondary outside of those 5 guys. But if those 5 guys can stay healthy, I think they're going to be elite in the secondary this year. Prayers obviously go out to Aiden Anding. I mean, Aiden Anding, LSU cornerback, obviously tore his Achilles on Saturday in the scrimmage in Tiger Stadium, and Anding was balling out. I mean, he had 2 of LSU's 5 interceptions reported in the scrimmage on Saturday in Tiger Stadium. I believe he tore his Achilles on the second interception that he grabbed on Saturday. So prayers go out to Aiden Anding. That's a blow. And then you also had Gabe Relaford, the edge rusher, who tore his ACL 2 weeks ago. So prayers out to both Gabe Relaford and Aiden Anding. I do think as a secondary, like, outside of those 5 guys I listed, between, again, prayers go out to Relaford and Anding. I just want to say that. But going back to the secondary, I think those 5 guys between Pickett, Woodland, Cooley, Spears, and Benefield, if you can keep those guys healthy, I think that could be an elite secondary and an elite unit. And I know Lane Kiffin mentioned in, I believe last Tuesday when he talked to the media, that if LSU played today, if they had to play a football game today, they would be a defensive football team. They would be a football team that relies a lot on their defense. And look, I think this offense is absolutely going to figure it out. I think this offense is absolutely going to figure it out. They have a lot of talent. You got to get the pieces together. You got to develop chemistry. And when you look at it, I would be concerned if the defense wasn't winning at this point in spring practice because of the fact that they have their whole staff is returning, or most of their staff is returning, and they have a lot of returning talent compared to an offense that is basically brand new when it comes to the roster on the offense and when it comes to the coaching staff that's coaching them. So I would be more concerned if the defense wasn't winning in spring practice. And again, the bottom line is this: Lane Kiffin is one of the best offensive minds that there's ever been in the history of college football. He's one of the best offensive minds that there's ever been in the history of college football. I completely trust Lane Kiffin with this offense. I mean, in 2024 and 2025, in Kiffin's last 2 seasons at Ole Miss led the SEC in total offense. They're gonna figure it out, guys. Like it's spring. There's still like 4.5 months till the season starts. Like they're gonna figure it out offensively. And their starting quarterback isn't even playing right now. Like Sam Levitt is going to start, and he's not even playing right now. Like, all due respect to Landon Clark and Hassan Longstreet, guys who I think are struggling with a little bit of a learning curve. I think they have plenty of talent, and eventually they'll figure it out. Again, they're having to adjust to throwing the new receivers, and not only that, but the tempo and the pace and the quickness with which Lane Kiffin's offense is run. That's got to be a heck of an adjustment for these quarterbacks. But they're not going to start over Sam Levitt in 2026. They're not going to. Sam Levitt is your starting quarterback, and he's going to be ready and raring to go once you get in a fall camp. So look, everything's going to be fine. Everything is going to be fine. Like I said, I would be worried if your defense wasn't winning right now. They should be winning right now with all that you have returning on the defensive side of the football compared to all of the new pieces that you have on the staff and on the roster on the offensive side. So everything's going to be fine. This team is developing. This team is going to get better. I'm so excited for football. I'm so excited for everything that's coming with that. And I trust Lane Kiffin to figure it out, and they are going to figure it out. And this offense will be good in 2026. And I'm not worried about this at all. I'm not worried or concerned about this at all because I know this offense is going to get better. Let's get into the comments. I haven't gotten into any of the comments today. Randy, how are you doing, my friend? What's up? What's up, Randy? How are you doing? Sounds like our defense is going to be better than last year. I think your defense has a real chance to be a elite unit this year, Randy. I think your defense is going to be really good this year. I really, really do. And with all of the talent you have returning, again, this offense is going to figure it out. They're going to get better. There's so many new pieces on the offensive side of the football, and they're going to get better, and everything's going to be fine. Again, I would be concerned if your defense was not winning as much as they are. And the fact that they are, I'm good, man. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not worried about it at all. Again, prayers go out to Gabe Relaford and Aiden Anding. I hate that for those guys. I hate it when anybody gets injured, and I hate it when something like that happens. So prayers out to those guys. Those guys are in my thoughts and in my prayers, Aiden Anding and Gabe Relaford. That's all I've got on the football front. We'll touch on a little bit of LSU baseball before we get out of here. LSU baseball. It was obviously a rough weekend for the Tigers. It was obviously a rough weekend for the Tigers getting swept in Oxford. It wasn't pretty. We saw a lot of bad baseball. We saw a lot of baseball that um you didn't want to see. You got swept, and you lost four straight. You lost four straight, going back to losing last week to Bethune-Cookman in the midweek, and then you lost three straight to Ole Miss. I don't question the talent. The individual talent on this team is there. The individual talent is there. The individual talent is there. I also don't question the fight. This team has fought. This team has fought back. They've gone down a lot this season and fought back and have won some games. I mean, you think about opening day of SEC play, they come back Friday night against Vanderbilt, Sunday against Kentucky, Sunday against Tennessee. They came back against Creighton. They came back against Southern. They tried to come back against Ole Miss on Sunday 2 days ago. Like, I don't question the individual talent. I don't question the fight of this team or the competitiveness of this team. I believe they want it. I know they want it. We all know they want it. And I think you have the individual talent and you have the fight and the competitiveness. I think when you put it together, though, as a team, as a cohesive unit, this team has proven out right now, at least, to be an average baseball team. An average baseball team is what they are right now when you pair it together. I think bottom line is you are very bad defensively, frankly, in the infield. You are very bad. You are the worst defense, worst fielding percentage of any team in the SEC, and that has cost you many, many times this season. I think your offense has been good at times. They can have innings where they put up 7 runs in one inning, like the 7th inning when they did that against Ole Miss on Sunday. But I think they're also very, very inconsistent. I think this entire team is inconsistent. And I think this offense especially is inconsistent. I think as a pitching staff, you've had stretches where you've been good this season. Like, I think you had a really good weekend overall as a pitching staff at Tennessee in Knoxville a few weeks ago. And I think you've had some good performances on a couple of weekends. But you've also had some shaky performances, especially in the midweek. And I didn't think you were really that good as a pitching staff against Ole Miss and Oxford this weekend. I mean, you gave up 26 runs in 3 games. That's not great. Those aren't great numbers. So I think this team has talent, and I think they have fight, and I think they have competitiveness. I think when you put it all together as a team, as a cohesive unit, they have proven to be an average baseball team. I think the defense is bad, and I think the offense is inconsistent, and I think the pitching is inconsistent. The Tigers are on a 4-game losing streak. They're on a 4-game losing streak. That makes tonight important. Tonight is important if you want to, RPI. Your RPI is not good. It's not good. When you look at the amount of non-conference games you've lost 6 non-conference games this season, which isn't normal for a Jay Johnson-led LSU baseball team. You've lost 4 straight games in a row. Now you got to get in the win column. You got to get in the W column tonight. I think another thing is you're also a little bit banged up. Like, I know Paul talked about this on his show, Walk It Off Talk, yesterday that I was listening to. You're a little bit banged up. I read a report that came out by Hunt Palmer this morning, talks about a few of the guys that are banged up. I mean, Chris Stanfield, looks like Staney's feeling a little bit better after getting some treatment yesterday. He should be available and in the lineup tonight, but Stanfield has gotten banged up. He's hit the wall hard a couple times recently. He hit the wall hard against Bethune-Cookman on last Tuesday. He hit the wall hard on Sunday against Ole Miss. So Staney's a little bit banged up. I mean, he got banged up with that left hand injury in just the second game of the season against Milwaukee. So Staney's been banged up all season, but he's been a warrior and he's been trying his best to fight through it. Obviously, Seth Darrar is a little bit banged up as well with that late slide that he had in the 6th inning, in the bottom of the 6th against Bethune-Cookman last Tuesday. I mean, he tried to battle through it. He played on Friday, but he played on Saturday, but he was taken out of the game on Saturday. And then he didn't play on Sunday. Braden Simpson played on Sunday. So I think Darrar is always going to try to play. I mean, this is Darrar's senior year. This is his last go around in college baseball. So if there's any chance that he can play, he's going to play and try to stick it out, of course. But I do think that Dardar has been a little banged up. I think, let's see. Jay said Dardar's injury doesn't think it's long term. It's a long term issue, but I do think you could see Braden Simpson potentially back at second base tonight for the second straight game because Simpson had that big hit, that 2 RBI single in the seventh inning on Sunday. So Simpson was pretty good on Sunday with that clutch hit he had in the seventh inning. So you could see Braden Simpson out there, maybe give Seth Dardar a little bit more rest. Hopefully you might try to get Cooper Moore back against Texas A&M this weekend. Now, I don't think he would start. I don't think he would get a start. I think he would come in a short and limited relief role, but I think you could see Cooper Moore pitch this weekend by all reports. You're a little bit banged up. You're a little bit injured. You're a little bit hurt. And I think, again, the talent is there. The fight is there. The competitiveness is there. We know this team is not going to give up. I think the bottom line is as a cohesive team, as a team, they've proven to be an average baseball team this season. Defensively being bad and offensively being a little bit too inconsistent. Tonight, you got to get back in it. You got to get back in the win column tonight. You could use some better midweek pitching tonight. I will say when your pitching has been good at times this season, they've been good with your top end arms over the weekend at times, like Evans, Schmidt, Guidry, Cowan, Sheeran, Fontenot, and Santiago Garcia. Like those are the 7 that I would place in my circle of trust. Those are the 7 that I trust on the weekend. Again, that's Schmidt, Evans, Guidry, Cowan, Sheeran, Fontenot, and Santiago Garcia. Those are the 7 guys that I trust on the weekend. Look, I think that on the midweek you've struggled a little bit in midweek pitching, and I think on Saturday when in the 5th inning Jay Johnson decided instead of going to Sheeran or Guidry, he went to guys like Zion Theophilus and Danny Lockenmeyer and Ethan Plog and Connor Bench and Maverick Rizzi, and then because of that you gave up 8, and Cooper Williams, you gave up 8 runs in just 2 innings alone. You gave up 8 runs in just the 5th and 6th innings alone. I think that kind of proved that outside of the 7 guys that I've listed, you do struggle a little bit with back-end bullpen depth. You struggle a little bit with back-end depth as a pitching staff outside of the arms that I've listed. I mean, when you talk about the midweek pitching, the last few weeks, I mean, Marcos Paz got to start last week against Bethune-Cookman and failed to get through the 2nd inning. Jaden Newt got to start the week before against Southern and failed to get out of the 2nd inning himself. And then the week before that, the Tuesday before that, Reagan Ricken got to start, and Ricken didn't get out of the 1st against Louisiana Tech. So you've struggled a little bit, but you're back in arms, particularly in midweek roles and midweek pitching. You haven't been great in the midweek. So you could use somebody to go 2-3 innings tonight. You could use that. You could use a better start. One thing I've mentioned this before. Yes, they have fight. Yes, they do have competitive spirit. And yes, they do not give up. But you got to start better. You've had a lot of slow starts this season as a baseball team, and that really, really hurts you against some of the better teams in the SEC. You got to start a little bit better. So I think you could use a better performance tonight from the midweek pitching staff, and you just got to get back. You got to get back in it, man. You got to get a win. You got to get a win tonight against Northwestern State before you head into a home series this weekend hosting Texas A&M, an A&M team that is probably feeling themselves because they won a series this past weekend against the Texas Longhorns, and Texas is one of the best teams in the Southeastern Conference. So A&M has been playing really good baseball lately. So you got to get back in the win column tonight. Northwestern State, I will say something to add on to that pitching perspective. Northwestern State's offense, only 2 of their regular starters, only 2 of their everyday starters are batting 280 or above. So they're not that great of an offense, but Northwestern has actually won 3 of their last 6 games against LSU, and they actually run ruled LSU when they came to the box last year. They run ruled LSU when they came back to the box last year, which is impressive considering that eventually led, like, that was a national championship team that Northwestern State was able to run rule last year. So Northwestern State has had some really good games against LSU in the past few years. They also have the best record currently at 14-7 in their conference, the Southland Conference. So again, it's important that the Tigers get back in it tonight. It's important that they get back in the win column tonight. I'll say this. I have been disappointed, and we've all been disappointed with the season, but I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. I'm never going to give up. I'm never going to stop watching the Tigers. I'm never going to stop covering them. I'm never going to stop rooting for them. I'm never going to stop saying that maybe they should do this, maybe they should do that, and finding different ways to be better. I mean, think about the fact that you're 6-9 right now in SEC play. In 2024, you were 3-12 at this point in SEC conference play, so you were worse. And that team in 2024 went on a really good run in the back half of the regular season, went on a really good run in Hoover in the SEC tournament, and made it all the way to a regional final in Chapel Hill before they got their hearts broken by North Carolina. So anything's possible. Like, it's still possible. It's still possible for this team to bounce back, but it's got to start tonight. It's got to start in the midweek. Get back in the win column before Texas A&M comes to town this weekend. But again, it's been disappointing. This weekend was very, very disappointing, but I will always love this team and root for them. And I'm ride or die with the Tigers. I'm ride or die with the Tigers, baby. Let's get after it tonight. That's pretty much all I have. Let me get into some comments. Let's see. I'm worried about cornerback depth. Yeah, cornerback depth. I think cornerback depth, going back to football a little bit, behind, like, if Woodland, Pickett, Spears, Cooley, and Benefield all stay healthy, I think you have an elite corner. I think you have an elite secondary cornerback room. You got to have Pickett and Woodland stay healthy. Behind them, you have like Jakeem Jackson, Michael Turner, like guys like that. You do really need to keep your secondary healthy, because I do worry outside of those 5 guys that I've listed and outside of Pickett and Woodland in the cornerback room, what you have there. I have heard some good things about Haven Finney, the freshman. I have heard a few good things about him. I know he's a true freshman, though, so you wouldn't like to throw him out there in year one. Again, you want to keep Pickett and Woodland healthy for as long as you can. But I do, again, if Pickett, Woodland, I know that's the cornerback room, but if I'm adding the safety room to this. If Pickett, Woodland, Cooley, Benefield, and Spears all stay healthy, I think you have an elite secondary. I think you have an elite secondary if all those guys can stay healthy. If one of them gets hurt, that's where it comes a little bit. But I also do like Fahim Delane as a safety as well. I think Fahim Delane has plenty of potential as well. So I think if you keep your secondary healthy, I think they're an elite unit and they've got really good size. And I think that's another one of the reasons why the offense is struggling, is because the secondary is really good and this defense is really good. And again, I'm not worried about the LSU offense long term. I'm just not. Maybe call me naive, but I'm just not worried about them long term. Cooper coming back, that gives us 8 pitchers. Yeah, I would say Evans, Schmidt, Moore, Guidry, Cowan, Kieran, Fontenot, and I like Santiago Garcia. I really do like Santiago Garcia. So I think that gives you 8. I think that gives you 8 that you can rely on when you get Cooper Moore back. And I think you could have Cooper Moore back this weekend. Again, I don't think he would start. He wouldn't start, but I think you could see him in a short relief role, limited relief role possibly. Was the third game rained out of the A&M Texas series? I don't know if it was rained out or if it was weather or whatever it was, but the Sunday game in the Texas A&M series was canceled. So technically, Texas A&M got a 2-game series sweep against the Texas Longhorns this past weekend, because the Sunday game was canceled for some reason. I don't know if it was rain or weather or what it was because of, technically that game did get canceled, so they did get the series sweep. Ride or die, Randy, ride or die. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Get back in the win column tonight, baby. Get back in the win column tonight. I plan to see y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow's show will probably be an hour earlier. We'll probably may go live at 4 tomorrow instead of 5. Wednesday nights are tricky for me. I have some stuff that I do on Wednesday nights, but I can't really do 5 o'clock on Wednesdays. So I might have to do 4 o'clock tomorrow. I'll keep you updated. Again, follow me on Facebook, X, TikTok. I'm YouTube. I'm on everywhere. Do me a favor if you can, if you're willing to, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're not already subscribed, and like the video. Like the video and share the video, folks. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in to this Tuesday afternoon edition of the Babin on the Bayou show. Greatly appreciate you all. God bless. Go Tigers. Have a great one, folks. Let's get back in the win column tonight for LSU baseball. Babin on the Bayou.